One more question about the art of power, and then we're going to talk about those behind-the-scenes moments. You also talk about the 4 C's. And I've heard you say this so often. And I will tell you, I struggled with some votes and would go in. I would have the amazing honor of being in the leadership. Speaker appointed me as chairman of the DCCC and would spend a lot of time. And I would confess to her at times that I was struggling with a vote, or some of our most endangered members were struggling with votes. And she would always filter this through the 4 C's that every member of Congress must keep in mind when deliberating. Can you talk about those 4 C's?
The 4 C's, I speak alliteratively to the members so they and I remember what we are talking about. And that is, we take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution. So what we're voting for must be consistent with the Constitution. Secondly, it must be representative of our constituents and therefore consistent with the Constitution. Third, it has to be a matter of our conscience. What is it that we believe? Where is our comfort level with this in terms of conscience and values and vision and the rest, consistent with the Constitution and the rest? So as you're talking to members and they may have an objection to this or that, we have to either explain or alter because they may have a point from the perspective of their constituents. And again, the 4th C is the caucus, but that's the least important. In other words, that we need this vote because we have to have this vote to build on it for this or that. But it's really about the Constitution, the oath we take, the conscience that we bring to our work, the constituents we serve. And we're Democrats, so where does this fit into meeting the needs of the American people? So listening to the caucus, but that's the least important of the C's. Now, since you mentioned alliteration, I'll just tell you a couple other things since I mentioned Kamala and Tim. I say to them, everyone, God bless them, we're gonna have a debate, be yourself, show your values, show your pride, show it all, be yourself. And at the same time, we will be doing the ground. We will mobilize on the ground. This is 3 M's. Mobilize on the ground to make sure that every possible vote comes out. For the presidential, but for the House, Hakeem Jeffries must be the Speaker of the House. I digress there a little bit. Mobilize. The next is message. We must have a message that is unifying for our country. Bold, progressive, but not menacing. Unifying. And because the mobilization can't run on empty, it needs infusion of hope and aspiration and the rest. And the candidates bring that to us. And the third is the money to get the job done. It's an M, okay, so it is it's really important. So while the campaign is doing it, that we are owning the ground with a message that is unifying, with the resources to get that all done. And then I have my 3 no's, N's. No wasted time, no underutilized resources, and no regrets the day after the election that we could have done one more precinct, one more night of texting or calling or door knocking and the rest. We must not leave anything on the table because so much is at stake in this election. So I just thought I'd give you some of my alliteration.